You know I like to over-explain things so that everybody can understand it. So for me, simply just post and feel for your diagonal wasn't enough to develop feel for a diagonal. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna demonstrate with Macy. We're gonna show you in live. What's going on, guys? I'm Jeremy.
I'm Macy.
And this is 19 or 20 of LSH Live.
Yes.
Yes. So what we're going to do today is we're going to cover the Novice Championship, the Level 1 Championship Equitation pattern. So I'm going to share this. Touching buttons. Stop touching buttons. I'm going to share this to from Macy's page onto this live in the comments. So in the comments section of the video, you'll be able to see the pattern that we're working on today. That way you're not lost when we're going out here doing stuff. So this is going to be the Level 1 Championship Equitation pattern for the 14, 18, 13 under, novice youth, Level 1 youth. So bad at this. So bad at this. I got in trouble. I'm trying to play by AQ's rules. They said you have to say Level 1 so that there's some continuity with their terms. I'm bad at it. I apologize. I'm sorry, AQHA.
You can get him in trouble.
You guys changed it. It's hard. It's also very strange seeing me on a live video as we go.
Look at I'm frozen.
Macy's
I have
always freezing.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5.
Yes.
Is this your counter striker? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I have this old counter striker on. It's all wool, and I'm still frozen. My hair's falling out of my hat. I have a loose spot.
Perfect.
Is that us live right now?
That's us live. That's so weird. Strange to see us live.
Okay, I shared the pattern, so go right there to Macy Blau, and that's the pattern.
So there you go. So Macy has shared the pattern. So yeah, that's what we're working on today. So I'm going to pull it up here.
I'll see you outside. Hello. Hello.
All right.
Hi, Casey.
Hey, Casey.
Brittany. Oh.
What else we got? Dawn?
Dawn.
Is it warmer? No. No, not a lot warmer.
So cold.
Yes,
I am
Dawn
always cold.
She is always cold. So, if you guys missed it last week, we did the drawing for the Good Ride swag. Oh God. Hold that. The Good Ride gear. I got my Good Ride on today. So that was Mark and Minnie Chuzankos, so congratulations to them.
Congrats.
I want to do more of those giveaways. I want to do more of that. I think that worked out really well. It was really fun for everybody. We had a couple people chime in with what the dare needs to be for it's so cold. I tell you, it's so cold out. The 1,000 subscriber YouTube challenge. We had a couple people chime in on that. It's so cold with this door open. So cold, door open. So the 1,000 subscriber YouTube challenge. A couple people have chimed in what they want to do. One person said I need to dye my hair blonde to match Macy dyeing her hair dark. Another person said I need to go to an open show and show the the showmanship, and the hunter.
I think you should do that.
And then we'll go live through it. So yeah. So we'll see. If you guys have a suggestion that you'd like to see, what we'll do is we'll put all the suggestions together as it gets closer to 1,000 subscribers, and we'll go from there. So we'll put up a little poll. Everybody can vote on which one it needs to be. But get your suggestions in.
I agree.
Because we're getting closer and closer every single day to a 1,000 subscriber challenge on YouTube. So thank you so much. I want to say thank you again to our partners over at Good Ride.
Yes, thank you.
They've been awesome. Use the promo code LaRose 15 for that, capital R.
Yep.
Our partners over at Holla Denim. Macy's got her Holla Denim on today.
Love them.
Our friends over there use the promo code LaRose 30 for that, capital L, capital R. And our friends over at Sales Paddock. So if you guys haven't checked out Sales Paddock, Allison's running that. They just added the mapping feature to the iPhone stuff.
Yep.
And it's awesome. I think that's incredible. So now we can travel around when we go all over the country and map out horses that are for sale near us.
That's really cool.
Which is so much fun. So like whenever we go to clinics off-site, like we're going to Iowa and stuff, we can go on Sales Paddock, load it up, and see horses for sale around us. So it's going to make our vacations and trips so much more fun.
Yes,
so,
for sure.
Yeah, so awesome. With that being said, is that everything we have to cover for today?
I think so.
So for everybody that's come through and donated and shared and liked and subscribed and commented, we love you guys. So why are you laughing at me?
I just can't get over the sounds like me. The rest of our warm-ups.
I warm my hands up. Yeah, we got to do your choir practice warm-ups.
You were so confident about it. And the
It's the abuse I have to go through every single day. Every day.
Okay, you get it
I
together.
feel like every video is going to be like, I'm trying to be super serious, keep everybody on track, and then there's Macy just doing her thing over there. Cracking up. Okay. Awesome. All right, perfect. So, with that being said, we will get started. We're going to walk through this like we did with the showmanship.
Yep.
We're going to walk through the pattern first. We're going to talk about what's going to happen. I have a bajillion cones and things out here in the arena for you guys today.
It's huge pattern.
Huge pattern. Yep. So, again, if you guys watched the showmanship one, we went over the level 1 championship showmanship pattern. We go out there, we add a million cones to it.
Yep.
Right? Because I want you guys to know where your parts and pieces are and how to draw it with your eyes and what it needs to look like. So this is the level 1 equitation pattern.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, that being said, let's turn this camera around and we'll get started.
Am I gonna have enough room to come here and gallop around this one?
Yeah, you got lots of room to sit tight to the cones. We're going to find out. We're going to find out today. We got the flash on, which is nice. The flash didn't really have to do a whole lot of good to help us here.
There you go.
And we can see if I did a good job putting those cones out where they need to be.
No, they're a little crooked.
A little crooked.
They're a little
wobbly there. Awesome. Good.
Right,
So, Kelly's going to be running the camera today. She will help us out. We'll twist it so we can get the edges in there. If it's a little shaky, we apologize. So with that being said, I am Jeremy LaRose.
I'm Isla.
This is LSH Live, and we are doing the level 1 championship show equitation, AQHA level 1 show equitation pattern today. So we're going to talk a little bit about EQ, and we'll talk about really riding in general. Like there's going to be some EQ style stuff. But if you've been following along with our videos, you'll know that everything that we do just goes into having a broke horse, right? Doesn't necessarily just mean EQ, right? So a lot of what we do and what we train our horses to do is be broke, right? So a broke horse should be able to do anything.
I agree.
Any maneuver we throw at it. So the horse that we're going to demonstrate on today, Marley, here in just a minute, is a 2-year-old. Okay, she turns 3 in like 2 weeks.
Yep.
So this is going to be a 2-year-old doing equitation. She's never done a pattern in her life.
No.
And we're gearing up for Macy, hopefully, if we get close enough, to show it, right? So I want to take you guys through this horse and Macy and I's first ever equitation practice. And you guys will be able to see it live at the level 1 championship show if she's ready and we can show it.
Yep.
So that's our goal. So we have 3 weeks, which to me, plenty of time. Right? So you guys have a huge advantage on us. We're doing it with a 2-year-old that's only been shown once in her life,
Yep.
who's never done a pattern, with a girl who's never done equitation with me. So I hope you guys go there and crush us. But we're coming for you.
Come for you.
We're coming for you. The challenge is on. So this pattern starts out. Got it. I'm going to read it out. Macy's going to demonstrate. We'll go from there.
Let me do my arms.
Yes.
What's that come over?
So, far off in the distance, you're probably not going to be able to see it on this, but maybe on the replay you'll be able to see it. There's a little can of spray black. So first thing I want you to realize about this pattern. This is how the pattern is drawn. Okay? Everybody see how the pattern is drawn. What I want you to realize is that this pattern is a square. Okay? So if you go here, we got cones up here, we've got across, down, and back. So this pattern is truly, I guess, a rectangle. So I want you guys to have a rectangle out here, okay? So when we are sitting here at this cone, draw the rectangle, find the outer boundaries of this pattern, all right? So Macy's gonna sit here, she's gonna look off straight ahead into the distance. She's gonna look to the right, she's gonna look to the left. She's gonna look at her right and her left, okay? She now has her boundaries of her pattern. The top of this pattern, the right lead gap canter, touches the outer boundary of that. Okay? So I want her to go all the way out, loop back around, and then come back and use the arena over here. Okay? So we're going to use all of the arena here today for our practice on the ground. I am not probably going to run my horse through a lot of the entire pattern, as you guys saw with the showmanship stuff. I don't believe in doing that. It's not the horse's job to know the pattern, it's the rider's job. So what we're going to do is we're going to probably run Marley through it one time and then break down each piece individually.
Yep.
Okay? So, that being said, Macy, let's have you fully equitated at cone A.
Yeah.
And she's going to do a forward walk. Oh, Cal.
I got it.
So she's going to do a forward walk. So this is a walk with some forward motion to it. So go ahead and demonstrate a forward walk. Good. From here, she's going to take up a right diagonal. She's going to change diagonals to the left right here. She's then going to do a right lead canter. This is a half circle that loops around onto a diagonal line. So she'll go outside around the outer boundary, come back on her diagonal across the center. So she's already got her eyes on this point down here. She's going to change leads right here. She's now going to take up a hand gallop right here. So she's hand galloping around. She's dying out, hand galloping around the edge of the arena. She's going to collect up here for a half circle collected canter. She's going to take up a right diagonal right here. She's going to right diagonal straight across the middle here until she turns this corner where she's going to sit trot, stop, back, and for me, she's going to trot out because she has a lot of confidence and she's going to sit trot out. Perfect. Okay. So, what I love about this pattern, this is a no-joke pattern. Okay? So I'm so thankful that AQ hired judges that threw Congress or World Show style patterns at everybody. Okay? This is a very high-end pattern. Okay? So this is for the level 1 thirds to the under, level 1 fourths to 18, level 1 amateur, and level 1 select. Okay? So this is not the rookie pattern. But with that being said, the rookie pattern doesn't change a whole lot. So these are serious patterns. So if you haven't been to a high-level AQ show and you're gearing up for the championship, the level 1 championship show, this is going to be very, very different than what you're used to. Okay? If you're showing at your local regional show and you go out there and you do a neck pattern, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be something very simple. Trot ahead, take up a diagonal, lope off, lope a circle, break to a diagonal, stop, back up. Right? That would be the majority of your average, everyday, run-of-the-mill pattern. Okay? This is, no joke, Congress World Show level pattern, which I love. Okay? So, what I want to do is I want to talk about the different things that go into it. So, Macy, you want to grab Marley, and then we'll come back into this. Okay? So, I want to talk about equitation as a whole. I want to talk about the different things that I look for. And then hopefully if there's time, we'll run through Marley with the actual pattern and work on specific elements of it. There's a chance today we don't have enough time to do that. But I have a few things I want to show you guys as far as like picking up your diagonals in general. Because when I was a kid and I was learning how to ride, everybody was like, you got to get your diagonals. And I said, well, how do I do that? And they said, we have to feel for it. It's okay, what am I feeling for? Well, feel for your diagonal. And I'd say, all right, what am I doing? And they said, just look up or close your eyes and you got to feel for it. Don't look, you got to feel for it. So then I would start posting and they'd be like, well, did you get it? And I'd say, I don't know. And they'd say, well, feel for it. Okay? And I'd look down and I'd be on the wrong one. And that was literally the help that I got. And they said, well, if you do it enough, you'll get it. If you practice it enough, you'll get it. To me, that wasn't enough. Okay? So if you guys have been following along with all the videos that we do, you know I like to over-explain things so that everybody can understand it. So for me, simply just post and feel for your diagonal wasn't enough to develop feel for a diagonal. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to demonstrate with Macy. We're going to show you in and out. Okay? So when you're sitting your trot, when you have you're taking up your post and you're trotting your horse, I'm going to have Macy really exaggerate going this way on her horse. So as Marley and Macy trot around, I'm going to have her super exaggerate that in and out, left and right bounce to her trot. Okay? When she goes to post, she's going to take up her diagonal when she's on the outside of her horse. And she's going to post across the inside. Okay? To me, this makes a lot of sense because if I'm on my right diagonal, I'm going to be going to the left. Okay? So I'm on my right diagonal, I'm going to be going this way. So we use this hip to drive across to a point where we want to go. Okay? So if Macy's posting along, she'll be posting like this. She's out here. When she's on the inside, next stride over, then up. Okay? So with enough practice, you can do this in 3 bounces. And then with enough practice and feel, you can do it right off the get-go. Okay? So right from the walk, right up the new diagonal, and you won't miss it. And this is about the only way that I have found to teach diagonals reliably to where people will not get them. Okay? Now, does a judge want to see you take off at this cone right here from your forward walk and watch you do this until you post it? No, they don't. But what I can also promise you is if you take up a post and you miss your diagonal, you're probably out of the running. Okay? That's such a huge error that you're probably out of the running if you miss your diagonal. So I would much rather have people take the small deduction. What are you trying to do? Come. I would much rather have people take the small deduction for sitting a little bit longer to get the accuracy. Okay? Huh? Come on. Yep. So, that being said, make sure you get your diagonals. This is the only way that I've found that I can teach it reliably. Macy's done it with me for 1 lesson so far today.
Yeah.
So, you guys get to see someone who's not very used to this.
No.
I
used to all.
With a horse that has no idea
No.
about hunter, especially, and patterns. Okay? What our horse does have, though, is an understanding of being round and what she's supposed to do off our feet. So there's going to be just a few things that we have to change about her and the way she knows how to move right now. But everything else that she's going to do is going to be very, very good for her in the long run. Okay? So despite having a foundation as a pleasure horse, because she has a foundation of being a broke horse and not a pleasure horse that simply sticks to the rail because we do all of our work out here, adding the pattern stuff to her and making her an all-rounder is not going to be that difficult, okay? And everything that we're going to do is going to help out with what she has to do in the long run, okay? So today, Macy's going to warm her up a little bit, and then we'll take up our jog, and the first thing we'll do is we'll cover the diagonals, because I think it's huge, and this will be, I promise you, the only diagonal lesson you ever need ever again. So I had some people ask me about how do we get our diagonals, how do we trot, and this is the only way that I've found that I can teach it all over the country and get people to take them consistently and accurately without too much time, okay? So, what I want you to do, Mace, I want you to go all the way down, sit trot, and really exaggerate the left to right in the saddle, okay? Go all the way down, all the way down. So, again, I like to show you guys 2 angles of this. 1, heading straight at you. You should be able to see Macy doing this. And 2, heading across. You should be able to see Macy leaning in and out. Okay? So here she's going to loop around. We're going to work left diagonal first. So I want to see her go in, out, in, out, in, out. Good. Do you feel that? Okay. You guys see that? See that? Left to right. Come back through. Do it one more time. But come back, loop hard here, and go away from us and show me. So if she were looping around here, she were taking up her left diagonal, she would go out, in, out, in, out, in, out, up, out, up, out, up, out, up. Do you feel that? Okay? So on camera, you should be able to see that when she's over here, she's in, here she's out, and then she's up if she wants to take up her left diagonal. Okay? So if I'm picking up my left diagonal, in, out, up, post. Okay? So get a feel for that. The more you exaggerate this at home, and it helps to have eyes on the ground to tell you whether you are in or out. Okay? In, out, up, out, up, out, up, out, up. Good. And she got a diagonal. Okay? The more you exaggerate this, the easier it will be for you to pick up that diagonal. Okay? So I had a girl who shall forever remain nameless. And this girl, if she watches this, will know exactly who she is. Used to never, ever, ever be able to get her diagonals. We worked on this for 1 lesson, and she got 53 in a row. Okay? And, I mean, consistently could never get her diagonal. So she got 53 in a row doing this. So what I'll have people do is I'll have them sit. We'll go in, out, in, out, in, out. And then we'll come up, we'll sit again, we'll come up, we'll sit again, we'll come up. Okay? So Mace, I want you to go across the frame. I want them to see the in and out here. So for trainers out there that watch this is a huge lesson. Kelly, just leave that framed up, set it up. Huge lesson for me. Go home, work on this with your students. This has worked for me everywhere I've gone, no matter what kind of rider I had. Okay? So take up a bigger pace here. Go deep, straight line across the center. Really, that's not deep enough. Yep.
I'll go back there. Sorry.
Okay.
It's just hard when I clothes around here.
Yeah. Good, good. So she's going to come across. She's going to go straight along this rail, come back across the center, very, very straight, and give me out and in. Out, in, out, in, out, up, out, up, out, up. Okay? Go ahead and go to the right. And she's going to show us out and up here.
Can we go out or no?
Go out. So show us your in and out. Out, in, out, up, out, up. Loop back to the left, and this time post. So this is live. You guys get to see if Macy gets her diagonals. And post here left. Good, good. Turning left. Good. Very good. So I want you to loop back around.
Coming around.
Coming around. Sit, trot here. Molly says, let's load. And sit, trot. Give me a right diagonal now. So, is that correct or wrong? Correct or wrong? Wrong, right? So, what will happen is when you come up, if you pick up the wrong one, you're out, and then you come up, you're going to be fighting your horse. So what I want Macy to think about here is driving across to steer with her hip. Okay? Sit right here. I want you to be turning right, so left diagonal. We're working a right lead circle here, or right circle here. So a left diagonal, coming across, and post. Good, got it, sit. And post. Good, got it, sit. Eyes at the ceiling. Big, head way up, head way up. There you go. And post. Good, got it, turn. Get your head way up so they know you're not cheating. There you go. And post. Good, got it, sit. Loop back around, go the other way. Eyes up the ceiling. Show me in and out. Take up the other diagonal so you can turn left up here. You pick up the right diagonal. Got it, sit. Come back around, give me a little more pace here. Pleasure jogging here. Post. Good, got it, sit. Post. Good, got it, sit. Post. Yep. Good, got it. So that's how I practice this, okay? To me, this is the only way to teach your students how to pick up reliably, okay? So, go ahead and load pace. Very good. So we are going to practice this horse in a training fork. The thing that we have to remember about this horse, she understands that she's supposed to do things in frame and round. What she does not understand is that at some point in her life, the transitions are going to happen at a point. And that's the difference between a pleasure foundation and a horse that gets good at the patterns. Accuracy becomes important. In the Western pleasure, they call for a lope, and it doesn't so much matter when you pick it up. In a pattern, it does matter. When they call for a transition, this is a forward walk through here, this is a posting drop right here, it has to happen right here, okay? What our horse is not going to have today is a transition that happens exactly where we want it. So when we work on teaching our horse a pattern, and what's supposed to happen with a pattern, it becomes more important that our horse does something where we ask for it, when we ask for it, okay? Not just the proper transition, but now where it happens is added into the equation, Okay? So, choking my gum. So, that being said, our horse has got to have a couple things. One, she's got to have a canter, right? She's got to have a simple change. She's got to have a hand gallop. She's got to have a hand gallop to collected lope, or canter, I should say. She's got to have a collected canter into posting trot. She's got to have a sit trot into a stop and back. If my horse can do all of those things, then it's, can it happen where it needs to happen? Okay? So I like this. This is nice in cadence. This is a good lope. She's down at her canter, I should say. She's down in this mare's hand, or she's in Macy's hands. She looks really good here. So let's move her up into a hand gallop.
Oh, no.
So Macy's gonna get up off her back. She's gonna try not to buck today. This looks good. I like this. Very pretty. Very pretty. So our horse understands how to send her legs out there, how to get up, and then collect back up to a regular. So sit. Nice. Very good. Very pretty. Again, guys, 2-year-old. Never done patterns in her life. Okay? But a good foundation. So when you send a horse out to a trainer, if they have a good foundation, it is very, very easy to add things. Okay? So up into a hand gallop again. Very nice. So I like how it happened right when I asked for it. Very good. Very good. And then collect up on a half circle here. Nice. Nice. Down to a posting trot. Here. What's that? Right diagonal. The correct diagonal. So now, with that transition, so you guys know how to pick up a diagonal from a walk or from a sit trot. That's the left, right, in, out, in, out. So I want to talk about how do you pick up a diagonal from a lope. Well, if I have a horse that follows my seat well, when we go from a canter down to a trot, we're going from a more collected gait to a less collected gait. Okay, so if my horse goes up gears, if she goes up from a walk into a trot, or she goes up from a trot into a canter, she's got to collect up. Her canter is more collected than her trot is more collected than her walk. Okay? Yeah. Okay, so with that in mind, if we are driving our horse through our pattern, if we are cantering around and driving our horse up, a correct transition is going to involve dropping our legs off and letting that horse go down and forward into her next gear. Okay? So what that should look like. We're loping around right here, loping around. I'm up, I'm driving, I'm up, I'm driving. We're going to drop off, release down into our trot. Okay? What that means is, as I come up in the saddle, when I want to break down into my trot, I'm going to release. We're going to use the word hey, and Macy's going to post immediately. Yep. So, what I want to pay attention to here is the rhythm in her seat. So when Macy hits the down part of her stride, so a canter or a lope has an up and a down part. When Macy hits the back of the saddle, I want to bounce off the back of the saddle and post. And drop her legs off and say, hey. Yep. So there's up and down to our lope. When she hits the back of the saddle, post. So there, did you see her sit down, fight it, and then try to come up? She's fighting gravity, so she's on the wrong diagonal. Don't fight gravity. When you're going down, hit the saddle, come back up. Do not fight, post. There. Don't fight gravity. So what will happen is, you're driving, you're up, you're round, say hey, drop off, kick, and come up. Okay? That transition can happen in one stride. There's no reason to not get this diagonal. One of the easiest ones to get. Did you see how you fought that? Yeah. You had to fight to hold yourself up? Yeah. Now for Macy, this is a harder transition to get because she rides up out of the saddle anyway. So we've had to work on Macy. Go, good. We've had to work on Macy getting closer to the leather. Okay? And I think that was in the discussion group, somebody commented and said Macy rides really up out of the saddle. We train 90% of the time with our horses. So when we're training our horses, we are getting up off their back, trying to get light on them and bring them up to us. So we're working on Macy staying a little closer to the leather because in Eq, that's going to hurt us. Okay? So she's real close here. To release, post. Okay? So I want to watch the correction that she makes. See how she's pulling on this horse to get her to come down into a trot. We are releasing down into a trot, not pulling back. Okay? What that does for us is we're loping, or cantering, coming around. We're going to release down into our trot. Okay? So it's a canter into a release into a trot. Okay? Post. Good. Much better. Much better transition. Okay? The difference is this horse in her life has been taught not to dribble down transition. So our horse wants to do from this lope into this into gear. I don't want her to do that. I want her to swing through it. Okay? And this for me is true when we go to show the hunter on a saddle too. I want this horse to swing through her next stride. Okay? So that's going to be like the one thing we have to undo from our pleasure training so far to add hunter to it. The rest of it, what this horse is doing at the lope, or the canter, when we have her pushed up, is how I want my hunter horse to go.
Right, yeah, me too.
So not much has changed between a Western horse and a hunter horse for me when we go show at AQ. Okay? The canter, the way they have to lift and suspend and stride, is the exact same. All we're doing is taking a horse that's taller and a different build, and it's going to move the way it does. Our training is the exact same.
Right, yep.
So I've had some people ask me like, well, what do I do with my hunter horses? Get them to come up and operate this high degree of difficulty. Right? Because those great hunter horses do the exact same thing. Okay? The difference is maybe they don't have to do it on such a tight or loose rein. Right? So we can be there to help them just a little bit more. Okay? So I keep her moving a little bit. Let's run through this pattern one time to see where we're at. Okay?
Oh boy.
Alright, so everybody wish Macy luck. This is going to be trial run numero uno. We've never introduced cones to this horse before, but she has a lot of them out here to help her go where she needs to go.
Okay, so when will you set up again?
Forward walk into, I think it's right there.
So we're going this way, I pick up this way first?
Hold on, loading it up. So your forward walk into right diagonal.
So I'll be like in, out, in.
Up. No. In, out, up.
Oh, so this way you go.
Yeah, right diagonal.
Oh.
Then you should get a switch at the second cone, or third cone out there.
Okay, sit.
Second cone, can I look at
Okay,
it?
then right.
Sit, switch, and then right lead around there.
Okay.
Simple change when you get back to the middle. Left lead for a few strides. Hand gallop around here. Collect up around that corner right there.
This one's...
You don't even have to think about that because you're coming down from the camp.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. Straight across there. Sit, trot here. Stop and back.
I never did a simple lead change, so...
Yeah, we never did a simple lead change. We'll give them a flying change then.
Perfect.
All right, so what we're not going to do is we're not going to beat our horse up for missing the transition for where it needs to happen. Because we know she's never done Eq before, right? So I don't want to beat her up for not getting it exactly where it needs to happen. So here's our forward walk. Good. Into our posting trot. Up. Good. Sit two. Bump, bump. Up. Good. Right lead. Little drum. This looks nice. Around that cone. Very good. Straight line here. Eyes on the end. Simple change here. Very nice. Hand gallop here.
Oh boy. All right, here, ready?
Yep. Tight corner for a hand gallop. Very nice. Little buck. Can collect up here.
This is hard.
Posting trot here. Good. Sit trot here. Stop and back. Good stop. Not bad at all. Really not bad at all. Very good.
That's not too bad.
A little round of applause for Macy Marley here. Very good. So, things I like about it. The things that I love about this, some of the hardest things to do, have everything to do with just having a broke horse. Right?
That's it. It's tight too, so it's
It's tight in here, yeah. So like, the things that are really hard to do, go ahead and come back across here, Cal. And Macy, give me a straight line down the center. Take up your right lead down there. You can just sit, trot down to the end, take up your right lead, and come back down this middle. A couple things are really hard about this pattern. A forward walk into a post, into a diagonal switch, has to be really, really straight. Okay, we saw Macy and Marley dip off at the very end of that when she went to canter. Super common. Also, coming through here, Macy's got to have her eyes down here, and this horse has to lope a really straight line. You look like you can do a flying thing. Okay? So, she's got to do a really straight line. So loop back around here, go all the way to the end. This straight line on this diagonal, our horse has got to be in position, and her legs have got to fly straight. Remember in our last video, in last Thursday's video, we talked about that. That plays into effect here because this horse stays straight, simple change. Nice, perfect, very good. Into a hand gallop. Up, drive. Nice, very nice. Collect. Sit down, slow your seat. That's hard to do.
Where am I going?
You need to be back on this line.
Oh, I'm going to the back? Okay. I thought you were just showing me.
Hand gallop.
Okay.
Collect before the corner. Collect now. Sit. Pretty. Very pretty. On this line, look ahead. There. To a post. Got. Good. To a sit trot. Sit, 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 stop. Good. And back. Perfect. Reach down pattern. Excellent. Excellent. So, Macy, talk to him. How does it feel?
It feels good. I guess the hardest part I'd say about this pattern is when you do, for me at least, but I think for all horses too, is when you come around that top corner and you ask for a right lead lope. It's hard not having your horse like fall into the inside and then change and keep it straight.
Bingo.
That's the hardest part I think about this pattern.
Huge part of this pattern for me is staying straight in a lope.
Yep, because
right?
like if I change these to left, like my inside leg has to be like right there.
Yes, yes, exactly. So that for me, that simple change, for a horse that's never done a simple change in her life, that was a check plus simple change, okay? I would much rather see that quality of a simple change than a flying. That's bad. You know? I mean, obviously a flying change is a high level maneuver, and the one that can do a flying change is probably going to get the plus through it.
Right.
Like, but a credit earning simple change like that, that's going to be a lot of flyings for me.
Right.
Okay? Because the pattern says simple or flying.
Right.
So that kind of simple, I would much rather see that than a bad flying where your horse accelerates and your rider loses a position.
Yeah, and like the head comes up.
Head comes up, exactly.
Like if you can get a really pretty one, then you do it. But
We talked before about how, like, I want to see a horse that will stay down in our hands through the maneuver, right? The key to that is, in order to stay down here, if you go back to our foundations of training horses, in order to stay down here, they have to be up here, right? So this horse has been taught to stay round through all the maneuvers. So look how easy it is for her to maneuver, right? This horse can rock over her hips for these tight turns and that half circle down there and guide and steer really well.
Yeah, she did really well.
Okay, so that's huge, right? If your horse can do that, you have a massive advantage. The other piece that is, this horse comes up a lot.
A lot.
Which means she's a little rougher to ride.
Yep, like she'll throw you out of the saddle.
But by the same token, I watch this pattern go, and she's got nice, slow, rhythmic legs.
Yep.
The slow, rhythmic legs give Macy a lot of time in between strides to think and plan.
Yep. Especially when you go from the hand gap, because she like kind of, if you get up, you can sit her rhythm, so you kind of find it right away instead of being like, oh, you got to slow down.
Yep. So having those round, collect, slow legs gives our riders more time to think about where they're going next.
Yep.
If your horse is going through the pattern and its legs are going fast, you're having to focus so much on sitting quietly that you can't plan ahead for the next maneuver. Okay? If you take this horse that's trained well and you run her through this pattern, Macy has a lot of time in between things that are happening. Right? Like she takes up her trot from her forward walk and comes through here, and she's got 4 or 5 long strides before she's got to switch. And then she's got 4 or 5 long strides again before she has to canter. And then she has maybe 12 strides around here until she comes back to her straight line.
It's a long straight line.
Yep, it's a long straight line. So with the cones, do you feel how if you didn't have those, you'd want to dip in every single corner?
Yeah.
Yep.
You would make those square anything.
Yep, so for me, we've got the boundaries, the outer rectangle of this pattern, that we're going to make an X across the middle. Okay? So when she does her X across this way, she goes from her right lead right here, down, changes leads in the middle, and comes into her hand gallop here. That's the X across the center. She then enters into another rectangle.
Yep.
Okay? So the other rectangle is one that comes through here, like this. This is the top side of this other rectangle. Those are the sides. There's the back side.
Yep.
Okay? On this rectangle, a lot of things happen. Okay? The size of this rectangle is determined by where did you take up your posting trot.
Yeah.
Right? That's what this cone is for.
Yep.
For me, I take up my posting trot halfway between halfway. Right? See that? See how I figured this point up?
Yep.
So when we drew this pattern out, it was 12 steps out to the second cone, 12 steps out to the next one, and then 12 steps all the way to the end.
Yep.
Okay? So I went all the way to the end, figured out how big I wanted my pattern to be.
Yep.
I went back halfway, and I put a cone down. Okay? About right here. I went halfway, maybe right there. Okay? I then went half of that distance, and that became where I took up my posting trot.
Right.
It also made the top of my other rectangle.
Yep.
So now I have a big rectangle with a line that goes through it,
Yep.
and we work across that diagonal. And then I have a smaller rectangle out here.
Yep.
On this rectangle, a lot of stuff happens. Okay? So right here, we change leads.
The little rectangles, a lot of stuff happens right there.
Yep. So the second rectangle, tons of things happen.
Yep.
So right here, I change leads. And once I change leads right here, the pattern happens quick.
Quick.
Right? So now it's the left lead through here. I'm going to hand gallop as I enter my lower rectangle.
Okay.
So see how that ends up being 2 or 3 strides of lope based on this size arena
Right. So
before I take up my hand gallop.
So I entered the hand gallop lead.
Right. See that? See how you entered up there?
Yeah.
Enter it down here so that you get enough time to plan ahead with where your hand gallop's going to go.
For the hand gallop, is it a curve or is it straight across?
Right. So you're going to move out of the way.
Let's
And
go
Kel
back
track
to-
me.
Okay.
So I'm going to be loping through here. I'm left lead loping. You are still right in my line.
I'm going out. She's kind of slow.
Yeah. So I'm left lead loping through here. Left lead switch leads right here in the center. So I'm right leading, simple change, left lead. 1, 2, 3 strides before I enter my top rectangle. Okay? Hand gallop here. And I can hand gallop, and the whole time I'm hand galloping, I'm going to look over there.
Okay.
So that I know what this is going to look like. I want this to be very, very straight. We don't have a lot of room here to go deeper in this arena.
No.
Okay? So I want to end up somewhere over here, behind the start cone.
Okay.
Okay? I'm going to be hand galloping through here. I'm up off my horse, hand galloping, and extremely straight line. Because it's harder to do. Okay? So the more I make this straight for a box and less like this for a circle around here, the harder it is.
Right.
Right? You obviously you know, based on how that diagonal felt, is way harder to do that and stay straight.
It's so hard.
It's really easy to lope or canter or hand gallop a half circle.
Yeah.
Okay? It's really hard to do it straight.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to add degree of difficulty by doing straight and square corners.
So where do you pick up your most points?
Okay? Let me finish where I'm at. So I'm coming through, I'm hand galloping here. Before I enter this, also about halfway to 2/3 before I get to the top of this rectangle, I'm going to collect up for my slow lope.
Okay.
So I'm collecting here. I'm going to collect and do a half circle here. So see how that becomes a half circle?
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm coming through here, little half circle. I want to enter this really straight.
Okay, yep. That's hard for me.
That's hard to do, okay? So I want to enter this really straight and then follow this straightaway when I take up my trot.
Okay.
So I come around here, I'm going to close my canter, my collected canter. I'm going to break to a trot and post this. Also incredibly straight line.
Yep.
Posting this. As I come through here, I'm going to sit now, go one stride, and hard corner.
Okay.
And come back through here, sit, 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 stop, and back. Okay?
So for the class, it's just one cone?
It's that one.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
So see how it's so important that we have all of these cones out here so you can plan ahead. Run this pattern enough without your horse so that you can get a feel for what this is like without all the cones.
I would have been screwed if I didn't have them.
Yeah. So when we go show, that's the only one we got. Get to know it, Marley.
Get to know it, Jackie.
That's the only cone that's out there.
Oh boy, there's not one down there.
No, there's nothing.
That's good.
So when you do this and you go to show it for the first time, we want to have you understanding that this pattern is a rectangle and a rectangle. Okay? So without all this out here, can you make good rectangles? Right? And can you work across them?
Right.
Okay? So that's going to be your mission.
So again, where would you pick up? Okay. Would a judge be sitting on a diagonal line to see how straight you make your diagonal line, or would judges be kind of sitting this way?
They're going to be in the stands over off to the side.
Offset. So,
Yep, so like where the door is.
Okay. So again, where would you pick up your most points?
I would say it depends on the style of horse and rider that I have. If I have a horse that's not very flashy, then I'm going to pick up, so this pattern to me has a couple different elements to it, and every pattern does.
Right.
And I want to try to figure out what are the elements of the pattern. So this side of the pattern, with all the stuff that happens, is a technical side.
Right.
Okay? That side is a freestyle side. Does that make sense? So like, if you think about the difference in technical skills versus freestyle skills.
It's like how sharp and how broke your horse is right here.
Right, right. And out there, it's a lot slower and there's more time between the maneuvers, so you can pick up a lot of points if you have a flashy horse out there and on your hand gallop.
And hang up. Okay.
Right? So our horse is really flowy, she's really flashy. Okay? She's also a good mix of technical, which is why I like her.
Yeah.
Right? So I think about control and flow.
Yep.
Okay? This horse has a ton of flow.
Yep.
We're adding control.
Right.
If she develops as much control as she has flow, you have a good shot to win this class.
Right.
Right? If you can go out there and have great flow and great control, if you rode it well, you win.
Right.
Okay? So on that side of the pattern, when you take up your right lead, and you come through your center and you swap leads,
Yep.
until you enter this hand gallop and do this part, that's all flow and just flash.
Right. Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
So a horse that's more forward and bigger moving picks up a lot of points there over one that's really slow.
Right.
Okay? But after the hand gallop, when you collect right here, it becomes a very technical pattern.
Right.
So then it's all about what horse can handle doing maneuvers right where you ask
How
it.
you ask her.
Right? Can you collect up and is it sharp?
Right.
When you go and you break down your trot, is it sharp? Is your trot line sharp? Is your sit trot sharp?
Okay.
Is your stop and back sharp? Okay? So once that happens, I want the pattern to go from open and flowy to crisp.
Okay. Can you get like when you stop, do you get like a check bus for that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. Especially because it's a sit trot stop.
So
So if you go to your posting trot, you're posting, and then you sit and you're boom, boom, tight, 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 whoa, and then stop and back, and it's right there, crisp, and then you drive a sitting trot hard out of the arena, boy, you pick up a lot of points in my book. That's like, I picture it, and I'm like, oh, the crowd goes wild right there, right?
that goes wild.
It's like you stop and back up, and then everybody's screaming, and you sit trot hard out of there. Oh, I love it.
It'd be
I
like
love
doing
it.
a rollback off a slide and going straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like that's as exciting as it gets with hunting. You know what I mean? For like equitation, that sit trot and that stop and back and sit trot out hard with a ton of confidence and your hand gallop to a collected are the points where I'm going to be whistling.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are the points where the crowd's going to be like, woo! Look at that. You know what I mean?
Look at that.
Like they're going to whistle because the big flashy, flowy part into collected and tight If your horse can execute that, you win. Okay?
Okay, perfect.
So when you go home and you work on this pattern, work on getting your horse to where it can collect up and it can get big and loud and flashy.
And come back down.
Okay? So like, it's like being able to go on a guitar solo, right? When you're out there and you're in the big part of the arena and you're using the whole thing, that's you doing your solo, right? It's freestyle, you're just jamming out there, you're doing your drum solo, right? And then when you come back here, it's controlled and tight and effective, you know what I mean? And that to me is, the horse that can come out there and really do that, that's a solid pattern, okay? And that's why I talk about this being, when I said that this is a hard pattern, that it was an A-level pattern, that's why. That truly is why. Because when you first look at this and you don't realize that about the pattern, you're like, oh, it's got some stuff in it.
Right.
But then you think, like, what could the greatest pattern of all time look like? Right? And where could an outstanding rider and an outstanding horse make this pattern incredible? You know, and this pattern gives you a lot of opportunities to do that.
It does, yeah. I mean, it's a hard pattern. Like, I was like, oh, this will be easy. Just hang up and blah, 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 and stop. But it's hard.
And it's really hard because the judges set you up to fail, right? Because they have you extend your horse out and get free and flowy and just loose through all of it, and then they ask you to be tight and control.
Yeah, it's hard because you're like, they're like, horses are like she was, I'm free, I can do whatever I want. And then she's like, I'm like, whoa, come back to me.
So for us, with this horse, she was great out there in the flowy part.
Yeah, she was.
And then we got to the technical side where we had to collect up, and we missed it every time.
I know.
We missed our collection, we missed our half circle, and we missed our straight line.
Right.
So I know that about this horse to be true because, again, she's only 2.
Yeah.
So the odds of her having that tight, controlled part of that pattern down and solid are going to be slim right now.
Right.
Okay?
She has it in
It's in it.
It's hard.
She's got to learn it.
Yep.
So that would be taking a horse that has a great foundation and teaching it that.
Teaching it.
Yep. So that's going to be our next step, is we're going to add some control to this horse.
Yeah.
She's got a ton of flow, she's got a ton of rhythm, she's got a really flashy way of moving.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be adding some control to that, so then we can go out there and crush. Right? If I have a horse that's really tight and technical, like the Benson horse, it's been a challenge to teach him how to go out and flowy because he gets mad.
He gets mad,
Yep. So what I'm probably going to do is, that'll be where we wrap up for today. That was pretty long.
That was long. Sorry.
So if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, or want to see more of this, we're going to cover it either next Tuesday or we'll cover it on Thursday.
Yep.
If there's no comments or concerns, I must have explained myself pretty well, and we'll move on to the horsemanship video for Thursday. And we'll save the Eq after we teach her a little bit, and we'll revisit on Tuesday.
So it'll be Chris.
So like to give you an example of what our week is going to look like, we're going to work on things happening when we ask for it. Okay? So basically what that is teaching Marley how to follow our seat better. Because right now she's had to follow rhythm and flow. And we've done a great job teaching her that. Okay? We can watch her extend her legs out there. She's got a great rhythm and flow to it. Now it's going to be follow my seat, that this means trot, this means hand gallop, and this means canter. Right? So if she can do those 3 things, then we can come out here and have a lot more control. So that's what we're going to work on next.
Yes.
So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in.
Love you.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Macy.
And you guys should do your tagline.
Like it, heart it, share it, comment.
Awesome. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We will see you on Thursday.